like I think when we our first meeting, the idea that if a lot's got to go, then a lot's got to go for the,
Mhm.
for the overall, you know, growth and benefit of all, that's fine. If it's, but I would rather have somebody I trust tell me it's got to go, so I don't have the, ooh, even though I try to front like, oh, I'm not worried about the legs. Everybody has that thing of, once you start seeing it fall, there is a little bit
You'd be
of,
like, oh my God, what's going on?
oh,
But let me
yeah,
tell you this, truthfully, just being in your hair, just picking it up, looking through it, your hair really is not in bad shape. A lot of times we think it's a lot worse than what it actually is, and it really isn't that bad. And I would contribute that to just whatever ends that you cut on your own,
hmm
that you can see. If you see it, and you just cut it off. And then also what we did, but also I think the use in products and the
hmm
fact that you're like in this place where you're like, okay, I need to start taking care of me. I need to start taking care of this, and so that's a big contributing factor, to overall hair health, and you definitely have that. And it's cool that you're now at a point where you're like, okay, cool, I need a real haircut, and people get frightened, because a lot of systems have been, they've been done wrong,
yes.
done dirty. Like, oh, girl, well, I'm just gonna trim these ends. I
And you
try
come
not
out
to
with a faux
say
hawk, like, oh.
right. You be like, well, wait a minute, you tripped it, all right. Mm-hmm. But I try to, as far as like language with my clients, I try not to use the word trim, because it's almost like at this point, like baby stepping. If you come in, I want clients to be like, okay, are we cutting today?
hmm
I want you to be that one to say, oh, Tony, I think I need a haircut,
hmm
and I'll be like, okay, cool. Because what that conveys to me is that you already know who I am, what I do, and that you can trust me. And that a haircut does not mean I'm gonna, shave it on one side and, try and
Right.
give you some salt and pepper asymmetric. No, a haircut is a trim,
Absolutely.
and so sisters, have got to get out of that, well, I'm just gonna
Trim
get
versus haircut.
a haircut. It's the same thing.
Right.
Say, oh, I need a haircut. It's 12 weeks. I need a haircut, Tony. Now, if you came into me and said, Tony, I think I want a short bob,
If you have a
or
style in mind, that's different.
there you go. Then there is the difference.
Okay.
That's the language, and that's what we need to specify. And even if I was unsure, and I'd be like, today, what you talking about? You want a haircut? What kind of haircut do you want?
Yeah.
Those are the questions I should be asking if I'm unsure.
Hmm
And that's I think where the breakdown in communication comes from. It's just like, get rid of the fear, and as you said, it's being with someone that you trust,
hmm
and then ask questions, because I'll be like, okay, girl, well, okay, how much do you want to cut?
hmm
Is the next question, and
Do
then
you
you be
ask
like,
that? Do you ask? Do you feel like they could read
absolutely,
it? Okay.
absolutely, and then they hit me back because they want to put it on me in case something goes awry. But I know my clients now, and we have this comfort level. And sometimes I get pissed off, and I'm just like, I'm just gonna cut this shit because it needs to be done.
hmm
But a lot of times it's like, well, how much do you want cut today? Well, what do you think? And then I spend a few minutes looking at it like I'm really examining it because
I can't.
the deal is, it's the truth. The deal is, most women that they already know how much needs to come off.
They're hoping you'll tell them something different. They're hoping you'll see
They're
something.
hoping, yeah, that I won't say all of this needs to come off. And a lot of times I do. I'm just like, look, this is what needs to come off. This is what we can take off today, and you still look decent, and you won't be raggedy, you know. And they're like, well, what would you do? And I was like, well, obviously, I would cut all of that off and just start fresh. And I will say 90% of the time, They're like, okay, go for it. Just do that. Hmm. Because they know my track record, and it's like, look, you come to me because you like what I do. It's part of the experience, and your hair goals are my hair goals. Now, if your hair goals are to hang on to raggedy ends,
And bless your
then
blessing.
right, then that is
God
not
didn't put me here on earth to help you block your blessings.
right.
That's
So
not why God put me here.
I'm gonna try to, bring you to the other side. Yeah, but sometimes it can be a challenge, and even with and I'll say this about clients that have been with me for 10 plus years. They've got really, the hair has grown existentially, and even when it comes to me saying, okay, girl, you know what, the ends are looking a little bit rough. Oh, well, wait, how much are you gonna cut off? How much are you gonna cut off? And I'm like, are you kidding me?
After all this time.
I helped you grow this. I educated you, took my time to work with you to get you to this place where you take care of it, and now you're questioning what I'm going to do. And so that can be a little bit challenging. Um, but I think, people now, they're kind of realizing, look, I've been coming to Tony all this time, so let me stop tripping, but every now and then I get that, that pushback. But then if they happen to see a picture of someone, or if they're walking in the same time someone's walking out that didn't have that, they're like, "Ooh, her hair looked fly," and I was like, "Mm-hmm." And not a split end, did you see?
Yeah.
So sometimes clients can change other clients' perspective.
Holding on, like you had the idea, maybe it took so long to get it, and now I finally have it, and you're not even examining, but is that good? Is it really what I want? Or is it just you worked for it for so long and now it's like, oh, I can't let it go? And I know we're just talking about hair, but obviously that's stuff in life too.
Yeah.
But that idea of holding on to this idea, like, yeah, I wanted this, this is what I was working for, and then not realizing, like, okay, you have it, but to keep it going, you have to be willing to, you know, let
Yes.
go,
Continue.
continue,
Yes.
continue. Like you don't just get to the spot and then just stop. Like, oh no, I
Because
got
I
to keep
think what people forget, or maybe they don't realize, is that your hair will always continue to grow, but it will also continue to split.
the split.
So you got two different things going on. If you don't handle this down here,
Hmm.
eventually this is where you're gonna be.
Hmm.
And then when it starts breaking off, you're like, well, why is my hair breaking off? I sometimes I'm like, I have no idea.
Hmm.
Why is your hair breaking off? Well, I haven't been doing, I don't flat iron much. I don't do this. I don't do that. I don't do this. I'm like, but you also don't get a cut either, regularly.
Hmm.
So I follow your rules. I do what you say. This is what happens. You follow my rules,
You get
and the plan that I have laid out before you, glory. It really is ABC. I don't talk that harshly to people. I really don't. I'm just
I
making
know you
jokes
don't.
because we're on here.
I
I
know.
really do treat people, gingerly, and because I know it can be very sensitive. But sometimes too, I get mad and I'm just like, I'm cutting his hair. Just shit. And I think the most I've ever taken off was like that. You
Mm-hmm.
know.
But the reason why I thought of it because I had two different photos in mind. And one
Okay.
was a longer hair and she'd grown out her bangs and the way it framed, it was a different look. So one was either we're gonna get you to that point, we're growing out to that point, or the other one
Mm-hmm.
was the shorter, like not pixie, but like shorter and just the way it was shaped. I almost want to call like a shag, maybe a little bit.
Oh,
So
I'm here for
yeah,
a shag. I've been trying to get girls to let me do that. I'm like,
yeah.
why?
I think that's
Yes, you
and
must show
so
me. Um,
from here, I think I could go back to. I think that is still on the table, like if, or
okay.
whatever. But for you to have seen like where my mindset was, and to say, well, if you want to do this, then okay, then we'll just a little tiny, or no, don't let me do nothing. Let's get to this party, and we're gonna grow you out. Then we come back and do this, or
Okay.
this, you know what I mean? So I should have at least shown the pictures to have the
Well,
conversation.
I think it's kind of cool because all we did, it really was getting comfortable. You being comfortable in the chair, me being comfortable with you in the space and recording and all of that stuff. We were carrying on, and
We
we
were.
knew we were
Find out.
going out.
Another thing I've been realizing since we've last um, spoken, it's
Mm,
just a holistic, because we've talked about this, like, the hair is a metaphor, like for what it is I'm doing, what I'm nourishing, how I'm flourishing, right?
right,
So it all goes in hand with the like, how are you treating yourself? Like,
right,
what are you putting in your body? What are you putting on your hair? What are you putting in your mind? Like,
right,
what are you
right.
feeding your
Yeah.
soul? Like, it is all like one does not go without the other, and it might um seem like highfalutin stuff. Like it might seem like, okay, that's you drawing too many parallels, but no, it's not, because it's really
No.
like, if one is, if it's not, even if you are truly developed in one area, if you are atrophied in another, like, it shows up. It shows up.
Yes.
And so,
Absolutely. And it's like, we have to get all of these working parts, to run together as a well-oiled machine.
it's a well-oiled machine. And
Mm-hmm.
most of us, I mean, we're all human beings, we're all flawed. So I would say almost all of us have grown up with people who were not necessarily fully functioning themselves, or had not done that
Very much so.
holistic work, or they were of a different generation anyway, and that work is not necessarily as translatable, and they didn't necessarily have the ability to teach us the lessons for the times that we are in some way,
Right. Right.
um so it's still doing that work. It's still, even if you think you have the answer, sometimes you're like, you bump up against something, and you're like, oh, well, that's a
Right.
question I never even knew could come down the pike. So how do I have an answer for that?
Right.
So
Right.
I said all that to say, it's just, it's because of the times that we're coming out of. It's almost, you know there are moments, there have been moments where I know what I need to do. I know if I'm going to bed and I didn't do anything, I didn't put any moisture that day, or I didn't, you do, you know what I mean? Like, I know when
Mm-hmm.
there's, even still now, as I'm working on developing these habits, um
Mm-hmm.
the thought might occur, oh, child, there's more important things in the world. And it's like, yes, but also no. Because what is the, like, what's more important than feeling good? What's more important
Yes.
than taking care of yourself, and like, in
Mm-hmm.
whatever area that is, like, to say you're worth it enough to take care of yourself. So whatever that is, in whatever aspect, it's not frivolous. It's,
It's not.
yeah,
So, and even like in this, as we're talking about hair, and you see me in a lid,
represent.
um, it's because I'm transitioning.
Okay.
So,
Oh,
while
the braids are out.
braids, yes. And so they're coming back. Oh, they're coming back.
Oh, good,
That's
good,
it.
good, good, good.
That's my new look. That's my new thing from here on out until I decide something else.
Nice.
And I'll share with you. I've shared only with a handful of people. One, the girl who braids my hair, and then like one or two of my clients maybe, and then whoever else was ear hustling in the shop.
Shut up. I'm gonna hit you, and you doing the most, and I love it. I love it.
Yes, yes. And so my braider was like, Tony, I ain't never seen it, but I am down to do it. Everything can be done. Everything can be
Everything is
done. She
done.
goes, Tony, no one even comes and asks for those kinds of things. And I was like, well, girl, that's how my mind works.
Yes, 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 yes.
So
Okay.
I got
Okay.
a kind of a cool haircut, but underneath this, it's a little heated. But
Okay.
even what I was going to say to you, even underneath this lid, my hair is shampooed and conditioned and I moisturize it.
Hmm.
Because if I don't do that, then it's just, just letting it go. And I got a week before I can get braided unless somebody cancels. So
Okay.
if somebody cancels, then I can get it sooner. If not, then, I'll be rocking different lids until.
Thing is, like, that's separate. That's our that's our Captain and Tennille type.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's our Captain and Tennille endeavor. You do love a hat too, Tony. So I mean, it's like built in. You just get the.
Yes.
I mean,
I love these. This is built in. I love it. It's true, girl. Yes. And, see, now I started working out too,
Oh, I love it. I love
getting my
it.
health on. It's wonderful. I have a trainer. She used to train me before, Miss Doretta. I think Miss Doretta, she got to be like 65 or something like that, 65, 66.
Mhm.
But this is the boy. She be whipping me around. I'm like, oof. It's lovely because she comes downtown, comes to my place, trains me in my apartment. The other day we went up to the gym in the building,
Okay.
and that was a bit much because it was hot in there, but had treadmills and all that kind of stuff, and it was just me and her.
Mhm.
But I really like it much more in my apartment because it's she's training me. We're doing a lot of flexibility work,
Love
so she
that.
can get me limber. She's like, Tony, everything is tight, especially like my lower half. So we're doing that. We're doing some strength training with using my own body weight and
Love that.
bands, and yeah.
That
So
is
I'm
so
excited
good.
about that. Yeah.
That is exciting. That is recognizing like in just 3, 4 days, like the difference between like what you're putting in your like just how
Right.
it feels, you know?
Right.
And even because I'm still doing my little YouTube research and figuring out what the different little genres are and how to
Mm.
how people tag their stuff and how they do their stuff, and so sometimes you can fall down a rabbit hole because some of the people are just so interesting that you're just like, oh, I just watch anything you're talking about, so then you're watching something that is like that has nothing to do with where you started, where you got from the beginning.
Right.
So but this um there's a whole conversation around the body positivity movement, because see, we've talked about the natural hair movement, and we've talked about how some of the rhetoric and some of the language and some how it can be toxic in its way, in some of the ways, and some of the very stringent thinking
Mm-hmm.
um on it, and how it can start off as a beautiful thing, but then it can also morph into something else. And the body positivity movement,
It's a
even
hot
for my,
mess.
is even for myself, I have actually lived through, I think, that idea of, if I want to lose weight, then does that make me bad if I don't love myself? Or if I don't, if this one doesn't accept me because I'm this size, without being honest about the fact that that's not healthy. You don't feel good. You are saying that you're using food to cope. You're using food to numb. You're using food because you're bored. You're using food because you don't feel loved and you want to fill up. And you can't say that. Instead, you say the world hates you because you're fat. Or instead, you say the world doesn't want you to be happy, and or it's diet culture, or and even the things of recognizing that honestly, that what I'm trying to build, it's not necessarily a vlog, but it is a lot about my life, because it's all about the development of, yes, the hair is a metaphor in this, but I'm because we talk about it, like even just me and you.
I've been talking about this a lot lately, so we're right on par. I have a really difficult time. I support women of all sizes,
Getting
all
their love themselves
shapes.
and loving themselves and
Right.
yeah.
However, there is a line that women. I think women, men too. Let's include everyone in this. There's a line that should be drawn. A line that you should be able to see and say, okay, I'm going to stay behind this line and I'm going to try to, do whatever it is that you need to do. Because and I hope you'll help me articulate this, because I see big men sometimes with low hanging bellies that, well, I'm a bear, so it's okay
Hmm.
if my
They
stomach
wrap their identity in
falls
this.
down underneath and my shirt, no, that's not okay.
Hmm.
And you're not a bear, you're a man.
Hmm.
But that title or that label as a bear, then it's saying it's okay to be a fat man. Well, no, darling, because that's not good for your heart. You
Because
know.
this is the part, because we are of a particular age, lovely
Mhm.
phrase, but you can say all of that at 28 if you want to, when maybe your knees ain't aching, when you every and your back isn't, and you can't
Right.
play with your child. I think I've said this to you before. Like, there's a lot of language around. Um, you know what it is? Okay, so what you are speaking of, the labeling, the identity. I'm a bear, so it's okay. And also within the bear community, then you get the pressure because it's like that it's like that echo chamber of, because I feel like that's what a lot of the Bopo um uh, people are. They are echoing to each other. And
Mm-hmm.
if some of,
Mm-hmm.
and I can't click on every, because I got shit to do, so I can't click on everything. But
But
they
we
talk
can,
about when you try to lead,
yeah.
but when you try to lead the movement, then it's like, or not even lead, if you say, I feel good about myself. I just want to feel better. And you say
Right.
I'm eating healthy, or you say I'm gonna start a workout program, or you say, oh, I'm getting a trainer. Then the thing that these women have said who have been big in the body positivity movement is that they get so much hate. They get so much, like, did you see everybody went off on Lizzo because she posted about her smoothie detox that she was doing, and it wasn't even like one of those crazy teas or one of those crazy concoctions. It was literally she was eating whole foods in a
Mm-hmm.
smoothie form,
I
and
think
she
that's
had
great.
no, she got hate. Oh, they finally did it to Lizzo. Oh, this word, they so cruel to fat women. Oh,
But you know what, Tenelle, this is the deal. This and this, I hate to say this, but you know what? Being that big, it just is not healthy. That's the bottom line.
I don't
And
believe
then
it
being that big,
for myself anyway.
and that, well, yeah, for anybody, even if like
I I,
20,
I I know, I definitely know, but I'm just saying because that's the other thing. I'm gonna send it to you because actually was it no, it was actually Carmen because I was gonna say your favorite person sent me this video, but it wasn't. It was Carmen, and it was this woman on TikTok saying just because they've internalized all their hate, she dancing around. And she's beautiful, she's big, she's all that,
mm,
but it's all still tight. The skin is still taut. You ain't there yet, sis, to where it's not okay. But she's like, just because they don't want to eat, they let this diet culture kill their joy. They mad because you out here fat and living joyful. And if anybody tries to tell you that they're concerned about their weight, tell them blah, 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 because it ain't got nothing to do.
ooh,
Concerned about your health because it has nothing to do with health. It has to do with their own internalized blah 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 blah. And it's internal, all right. It's called my I don't want my arteries choking. It's called
right,
I have a 5-year old. Look, can't even remember his name.
right,
Brain
yeah.
fog. No, but I have a
Girl,
5-year old.
I don't want to have a heart attack walking up 4 flights of stairs. I shouldn't be winded after the second.
Yeah, I shouldn't feel the thing like you know what's in your body. You know what you feel, and
Yeah,
you know
the
when it's
stress.
not. It's
Hmm.
yeah, and it's not the lick. It's not the
And it's
lick.
not, it's not healthy. And I was talking with Miss Doretta, and she always is in it because I grimace a lot. Are you okay? And I'm like, yeah. I'm tired. This is hard. I'm fat. And she said, oh, Tony, you're not fat. And I was like, Miss Doretta, let's call it what it is. Oh, but Tony, I don't see what you see. And I said, that's because I got on these baggy clothes. And I said, but if I were to take these things off and you took a look at my stuff, you'd be like, golly. So we laugh about it.
But
But that's why, and I told her, I said, that's why I hire you to train me. I said, I'm not, self deprecating. I'm just calling it what it is. My
mhm.
stomach is fat.
But you know what? Sometimes the calling it what it is,
Mm
the calling it what it is. Yeah, okay, so we talked about this.
hmm. Mm
You
hmm.
want to say trim because you feel better about it, but call it what it is. You cutting your hair. It's a cut. Now, whether or not
Yeah.
it's a so sometimes we do these things with language so we can feel better
Mm hmm.
about it. But if we're honest, okay, so to this point, and I said it's holistic. It's making the time for the hair, making the time for this, making the time. That all goes to discipline. So then if I'm honest with myself, where do I want to discipline myself? Have I, because of my whatever quirks I have or whatever things that have gone in my life, and I've coddled myself up until a certain point to allow for certain behaviors to be okay? Do
Yes.
I do I do I keep feeding that? Do I go someplace where I can get the echo chamber that tells me, sis, you good. Sis, don't listen to them. Sis, they don't want you to have joy. Or am I honest with myself and say, you know what? This might be a little bit of hard work in this moment, but I'm worth that
Mm-hmm.
hard work. This might not be
Boom.
comfortable in this moment, but I'm worth getting to where I'm trying to go. And I have the ability to do it, and I can discipline myself enough to do it. But first, I have to discipline.
Mm-hmm.
But now, heretofore, you've been a little bit undisciplined. Sis. You've been a little
Yes.
bit just wayward with your shit. So now you got to
Yes.
rain it on
You,
in. And
you know what? I had to wrangle my shit into, and that's not just, um, like a body, like
your
sex, drugs,
body,
rock and roll, all of it,
all of it, because
all of
this
it.
is the thing. You will sublimate if you are not honest about what it is, what the triggers are, what it is that you're feeding, what it is that you're
Hmm.
soothing, what it is that you are trying to nourish or coddle or protect. If you're not honest about what that core thing is, you can
Hmm.
find any kind of stimulus, even things that people say
Yeah.
are good. I know a lot of people who leave drugs and then they crazy for Jesus, and then they treat
Yeah.
everybody else who doesn't know Jesus as though they're the devil, and they ain't never, and they're fanatical in the same way as if they were on the power, or if they were,
Absolutely.
so you
Absolutely.
get it with whatever,
And
but
it's
then
got to
the
be a
honest about the core.
balance. Hmm.
It's got to be a balance. So far, you'll
Yeah.
swing in the other end on the other. The
Absolutely.
pendulum will swing a little too far when you're trying to correct. You course correct too. Yeah, that happens.
Hmm.
That has happened to me many, many, many a time, and
Oh,
then you can't
yeah.
sustain that other side of it because that is also like
Hmm.
too extreme. So
Yes.
yeah, that calling it what it is, like not being afraid to call it what it is, and it's not that you're being harsh with yourself or unkind to yourself if you don't think you're
It's just
enough. It's just
truthful.
it's just
Being
truthful, because how do
truthful.
you solve something if you aren't even aware of what the actual problem is?